Welcome. So glad that you're here. This is the Write Your Manuscript webinar, and I'm Heather DeRocher, and I'm the head editor at O'Leary Publishing, and we're delighted that you've joined us today. Whether you're ready to start writing your manuscript, or you've already written some of it, or maybe even all of it, there are likely some places that you could use some support. Maybe encouragement, ideas to move forward. As writers, we all have times that we're stuck. And usually this is because there's a piece of information or a tool that's missing for us. And today I will share some of those tools to help you move forward with your manuscript. I want you to know that you can do this. You can write a book. And if you have the right tools, it's actually pretty simple. And I am here to help you. Over the last 3 years, I've worked with almost 30 authors. And we at O'Leary Publishing have refined the process that we use to create a manuscript. Most of the authors who came to us had an idea, and we went through a process that helped them to create a manuscript. There are 7 simple steps that we have refined. I'm going to share them with you, and then we're going to go in to talk a little bit about each one in a little bit more depth. So what are the steps that you can use to write a book? The first step is to define the message. The second step is to identify the obstacles. The third step is to clarify the vision. The fourth step is to imagine the reader. The fifth step is to build the frame. Step 6 is to create the invitation. And the final step, step 7, is to find the team. So I am going to share my screen for just a minute. So I'd like to show you this right here. So looking right here, you can see that this is the table of contents to the book that I wrote called Manuscript Magic, 7 Simple Steps to Writing a Book. And these are the 7 steps here that I just shared with you. Define the message, identify the obstacles, clarify the vision, imagine the reader, build the frame, create the invitation, and find the team. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about each one of those. And before we go forward, I would like to just show you one other thing that's kind of fun. I'd like to share with you my book. It's called Manuscript Magic, 7 Simple Steps to Writing a Book. And here's the cover, which I absolutely love. So I just wanted to share that with you before we dive in. So let's dive in and let's talk about each of the steps in a little bit more detail. And I'm going to share some examples with you for each of these so that it might help you to work on these steps for yourself. So the first step, defining the message. When we do that, we want to think about what important wisdom has life given you? Your experiences, your challenges, your opportunities. What has that offered you? I'm sure there's something that's happened that's left you with some wisdom that's worth sharing with others. That is the message of your book. And I will share with you the message of my book. So Manuscript Magic, the basic message of that book is that there is a magical 7-step process that you can use to create your manuscript. That's my message. There is a magical 7-step process that you can use to create your manuscript. So think about, what is your message? Go ahead and write down some ideas. Or type them on your phone or your computer, wherever you are. Write down a couple ideas of messages that you might want to share, that a book could be centered around. And think about your favorite books. What was the message of those books? That will help you to refine what your message might be. So we're going to move on to step 2 now. You can spend some more time with step 1 whenever you're inspired to do so. So step 2 is to identify the obstacles. Most of the authors that I have worked with are first-time authors. They don't necessarily know the process or the path. And it's important that we identify what are the things that keep us from writing. For me, finding the time and the inspiration to write sometimes is a challenge. My book is a short book. It's only 88 pages. It's a 4x6. It's little. This is what it looks like. So you can see it's just a little fun book here. But it took me 1.5 years to write this because I had to keep refining what the message was. And that's fine if it takes some time to do that. But identify what those obstacles are. And one of my experiences, the thing that's been the most helpful for the authors that I have worked with in moving past their obstacles is to have a team, especially an editor who's there to support them and help them and work with them. So that can really be something that helps you to overcome what your obstacles are. So go ahead and think about what a few of your obstacles are, maybe write them down just to identify them. And once we've identified them, then it's much easier to move forward. Step 3 is to clarify your vision. So we start at the end. What does it look like when you are holding your book in your hands? What is the book doing for you in your life, in your business? What's it doing for people in the world? Why do you want a book? So imagine what that looks like. And maybe write down an idea of what vision could drive you to write your book. I'd like to share an example of a vision. One of our authors, Christina J, wrote this book, The Conscious Divorce, 30 Principles to Help You Choose Yourself. She had successfully created or moved through a conscious divorce, something that many of us hadn't even considered could happen. And after she did that, many of her friends and acquaintances came to her and asked for help. And she wanted to put the important principles that she had learned into a book that would help others. She also wanted to launch herself as a speaker and a guide to work with people. And her book is doing exactly that. It's helping her step more fully into the work that she wants to do in the world. So what is your vision for your book? Clarify what a book would do for you in your life, in your business, your profession, for others in the world. What is your vision? As we think about the vision, we move into step 4 and we imagine the reader. Who is the reader of your book? A book is great, but if no one's reading it, it's missing part of its purpose. What does your reader's life look like? What problem does he or she have? And how does your book help solve that problem or address the issues that your reader might have? The 3 things to really think about, there are 3 words. Who is your reader? Why would they read your book? And how is your book helping them? Those 3 things. I'd like to share an example with one of the books that we have worked on that I helped to edit and publish. This is Poppy the Awesome Possum and the Book of Runes by Britton. And she has a really beautiful vision for who her reader is when she imagined her reader. And so I want to share that with you, what her vision was. So Julie's vision was, this book is for a child who wants to be entertained and learn about magic. It takes the reader on a magical journey of adventure and exploration. It uses a story to teach children about meditation and the runes. Isn't that a beautiful vision? So who is your reader? Why are they reading your book? How is your book helping them? Go ahead and jot down a few ideas. The next step, step 5, is to build the frame. And another word for that, or another phrase for that, is the table of contents, basically. That is, the table of contents is the frame of the book. It creates the structure. And there are so many different ways to lay out a table of contents. There might just be chapters, there might be parts, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. And we work with each of our authors to create a table of contents that reflects their message, their vision, and their book. And in Manuscript Magic, in the chapter on building the frame, we have included about 10 different tables of contents for you to look at as examples of the different ways that this is done. And so I want to share one more time with you the table of contents from my book, now that we're at step 5. So here is the frame for my book. You can see there's a little bit of an intro, who, me, and author, talking about the doubts that we all have and not seeing ourselves as authors, but how do we move into that? And then the 7 steps that we've been reviewing. We're here on step 5, building the frame. And then I have a conclusion. And at the end, I have 2 appendix that I added in to help you, the parts of a book and the book team, because these are things that a lot of people don't necessarily know. And this really helps you to create the book that you want to create. So this is what a table of contents could look like. This is a simple one for a short, simple book. One of the ones that was really one of my favorites is by one of our authors, Valentina Dimitri, and she has 4 parts to her book, and each part is a season. So it takes the whole personal growth and moving through challenges, and it aligns it with the 4 seasons. You know, so in the spring, we're planting the seeds. In the summer, we're blooming. In the fall, we're harvesting and reaping the rewards of the things we've done in the other seasons. And it's a beautiful table of contents because it really lays out exactly what the book is. You can see and get a feel for the whole book right there in the table of contents. So take some time to look at a few of your favorite books, and what does the table of contents look like? How did that frame help the whole book come together? Think about the topics that you will discuss. How do they flow? How do they relate to each other? Can they be grouped together? These are the kind of things you do when you're building the frame. So go ahead and jot a few ideas down if you have some. Step 6 is the invitation. So you're going to create the invitation into your book. And basically what that is the back cover. So you have a front cover that will invite people in, but then they'll flip the book over and they'll read, what is the description of this book? And this is a great place to share with them what the book's going to do for them. And we really like to start with either a question or a statement or a quote that's really bold, that kind of captures their attention. And this back cover copy, or the book description, will be a bullseye for you as you write. It's an invitation for the reader, but it's also the place that you're heading. It's your destination. You are creating a book that's going to do these things. So you'll describe what the book is going to do for the reader. When you get a chance, read the back cover of some of your favorite books and see how the author invited you into that book. What captures your attention? What really resonates that makes you want to open and read that book? I will share now a sample, an example for you. So this is the back cover of Ascend to Joy by Christine Elwart, Transform Your Life Through Living Kabbalah. And this is really one of my favorite back covers that we have created, because there's so much joy and excitement in this back cover. So as you can see, we created a question. Are you ready to experience more joy than you ever thought possible? It's a great way to ask a question. Who doesn't want to say yes to that? Okay, I want to know more about that. If you answered yes, then this book is for you. Open the pages to discover the secret method to ascend to joy that has been used for thousands of years by some of the wisest, most powerful and successful people in history, like Carl Jung, Nikola Tesla, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, to name a few. I love how Chris used these incredible humans as examples. Who doesn't want some of the things that they experienced and achieved? And then her second paragraph, she goes on to say, this method of discovery, also known as Kabbalah, contains a path to the remarkable truth of who you are and the possibility of who you can become. It is the roadmap to releasing the scripts of your past and finding the way back to God and to your true self. This book offers you the chance to step out of the confines of life as you have known it, open yourself to limitless possibilities, and experience a life of pure joy. That is a powerful invitation. Who doesn't want to experience that? I hope it made you want to open up the book and read more. So, what could your invitation look like? What could your back cover copy look like? Can you think of a question that you could ask to invite your reader into the book? Or a quote or a statement? It's really a lot of fun to create the description of the book because it's where you get to really dream about what your book is going to do for the reader. So that's step 6, create the invitation. And I hope you'll spend some time with that. Read the invitation back cover description on a few books that you have and see what really works and resonates and what speaks to you. And the final step, step 7, is to find the team who can help you write and publish your book. Most authors can benefit from having a team to help them through this process. The authors that we have worked with had self-doubt, and this plan and our team really helped them get through that. To find a publisher, Google publisher and the name of your town and see if there's anyone around who you might be able to work with. You also can reach out to us. Many of our authors are thousands of miles away, and we work together real successfully through technology. So find someone or a team that really resonates with you. Our company mission is to publish books that raise the vibration of the planet. And so the authors that come to us share that vision and that mission, and it's a really beautiful synergy working with them. So those are the 7 steps to creating a book, to creating a manuscript. And let me just share them with you one more time. Define the message. Identify the obstacles. Clarify the vision. Imagine the reader. Build the frame. Create the invitation. And find the team. So with those 7 simple steps, you can definitely create a manuscript. So if you're ready, I invite you to take the next steps. And I just want to say that you can do this. So what are the next steps? Well, I highly suggest that you get this little book on Amazon. It's available in paper copy and also available as a Kindle book. So you could have it instantly to look at and read. Manuscript Magic, 7 Simple Steps to Writing a Book, Yes, to writing a book. And in here, it will take you about a half an hour to read this book. It won't take very long at all, maybe 45 minutes. And there's lots of examples of how to do each of the 7 steps in this book. Oh, and let me just share with you the back of mine. Here, this is. So this is on Amazon. I hope you'll get that. That would be the first step that I would recommend because it's just simplifies everything. It makes it so much easier. Having worked with 30 authors, I'm able to cut through the things that don't matter and just give you, here's what you need to do. So this book will go more depth into all those 7 steps that we talked about today. The second step would be to schedule a consult with us. We have 2 different kinds of consults. They're 30-minute consults. We have an editorial consult, and that would be if you want to speak with me, the head editor, and have your questions answered about how to write a manuscript. We can talk about that. I'd love to do that with you. And then the other option is if you want to talk to April, who's the founder of O'Leary Publishing and the publisher, about the publishing process and how that works. She would love to meet with you and share that. So either one of those, either an editorial consult or a publishing consult, would lead to a manuscript mapping or manuscript review. So if your book is already written, we offer a manuscript review where April and I each read your manuscript, and then we give you a detailed evaluation of the strengths and the weaknesses and what we think could be done with it and how we would help you to improve it and turn it into a book. If you haven't written yet, which is kind of a great place to be because then we can help you through the process, we do a manuscript mapping session with April and with myself, the 3 of us together, along with you on about a 1.5 hour, either in person or Zoom call, depending on where you are. And we help you go through these 7 steps so that you leave at the end with a whole roadmap of how you're going to write your book and what you're going to do with it. And then it makes it very simple. So either one of those, manuscript mapping or a manuscript review. So I thank you so much for being here, for taking the time. I hope that this webinar has inspired you to either start writing or to keep going with your manuscript. I hope that you will read my little booklet, Manuscript Magic, that I wrote to help people just like you write their books and put them out into the world. Please visit our website, o'learypublishing.com. There's so many wonderful pieces there to get to know us and how we work and what we do and what books we've published. And we very, very much look forward to connecting with you. So thank you. Have a wonderful day and happy writing.